Hello and happy Sunday, people. Today, since you have read the title, I am reviewing a series that holds a special place in my heart. Before I get into the video, I would just like to thank you for clicking on this video, and I hope you stick around. So, my first watch of Naruto started in the 5th grade to about mid-middle school, and I do not remember how far I went. However, Naruto left a big impression on me since it was my first look into internet fandoms. It was great to see internet jokes and see fan art about something I enjoyed. I also didn't have any friends who liked Naruto, so I felt less alone about this series that I really love. So, what is Naruto? The anime Naruto is based on a manga of the same name released in 1999, so already older than my existence. Naruto is one of the big shonen animes. This is reflected in how Naruto is the 4th selling manga in history, and how anyone familiar with anime has heard of or seen Naruto. Naruto is so popular that now there are Fortnite skins of them. I also regret not to log into Epic Games because I kind of wanted those skins. Anyway, since Naruto is a popular anime, it must have held up since the 2000s into 2022, right? There will be spoilers and you have been warned, but I think it would help to break down what happened in the first arc of Naruto, and I think my points will make more sense if we all recognize the exact elements I'm tackling. This is only from the first arc of Naruto and none of the other ones. This is just my personal opinion on the first arc, and if this video goes well, I might do the second arc of the original Naruto, and then if I can get through the 1,000 or so episodes that it feels like Naruto has, I might even tackle Shippuden, which was a time for me when I first watched through it. Anyway, let's start with episode 1. Episode 1 is called Enter Naruto Uzumaki. Here we are introduced to our boy and main character, Naruto Uzumaki, as a young boy being a nuisance. This young man is shown to mostly be without any friends or family except for the one mentor character he has. Anyway, this introduces the adult character named Uraka, Naruto's mentor. Uraka is unable to pass Naruto despite how hard he tries to graduate from his class, unlike his other classmates, to become a official ninja, or the lowest rank, and be able to get trained by a mentor in ninja-ing. And he is the only one of his class unable to pass. Later that day, Naruto is tricked by another teacher to steal a scroll from the 3rd Hokage so that he can kill Naruto and steal the scroll. This plan would have worked if Uraka didn't interfere. However, Evil Guy used this method to reveal why nobody really liked Naruto. Naruto had the 9 tails sealed inside him in order to show how Naruto shouldn't trust anyone, including Uraka, because of how much damage the 9 tails caused years before. And while he expected this to lead to Naruto betraying Uraka, instead of betraying Uraka, Naruto was able to successfully perform a shadow clone jutsu to overwhelm the guy. The episode ends with Uraka telling Naruto that he has graduated, and they have a really cute moment. Episode 2, My Name is Konohamaru. Now this episode, with Naruto getting his ID made, and it looks like the silly little goofball Naruto is. However, I give Naruto a pass for this since he is 12 years old. Anyway, the Hokage basically tells him to retake the picture, and this circumstance of him being in the Hokage's office leads to him meeting Konohamaru, who is the grandson of the Hokage, which is why he's so surprised when Naruto looks at him and is like, "Hey kid, why are you messing around with me?" I'm gonna be honest, the only thing that really matters from this episode is that we see the harem jutsu, and I'll explain the reason why I'm boiling this episode down a lot later. This episode ends with Konohamaru resolving to work towards being Hokage despite him having an advantage in life. Episode 3, Sasuke and Sakura, Friends or Foe? Naruto is finally able to meet the other people who become a part of his team, Sakura Haruno and Sasuke Uchiha. This is where the famous Naruto-Sasuke kiss came from, when a fellow student bumps Naruto and they end up falling into each other. Anyway, this leads Naruto to call Sasuke his rival, even though at the time Sasuke was objectively more skilled than Naruto at this point. What about our other protagonist, Sakura? Sakura is introduced as this externally normal young girl, but is shown to internally be full of rage and have a crush on her fellow classmate Sasuke, like many of the other girls in her class. And I will get into this in the recap area where I talk about her character. However, knowing Sakura's feelings for Sasuke, Naruto's scheme to dispose of Sasuke imposes him to get closer to Sakura once they were assigned their teams. While this plan goes well, Naruto is forced to go to the bathroom, and in the meantime, the actual Sasuke somehow escapes from whatever Naruto did to him and runs into Sakura while looking for Naruto. After expressing disgust towards Sakura when she blames Naruto's idiotness on not having parents, Sasuke finally tracks down Naruto after he was forced to go to the bathroom again while posing as him to talk to Sakura. Yes, it is confusing, try and keep up. And they have a short confrontation, and the episode ends with revealing that Naruto's stomach problems were due to him drinking expired milk. Okay, episode 4, Pass or Fail Survival Test. Finally, time to meet those Jonin instructors and for them to get tests to become Genin. This is when we meet our beloved and bored-faced mentor, that is Kakashi Hatake. While Kakashi may act like a slacker, he is able to have each of the team members introduce themselves and where we find their goals. Naruto wants to become Hokage, but that was established earlier. Anyway, Sasuke wants to restore his clan and take revenge on the person who killed his clan, and Sakura doesn't give any of her reasons because she seems to be thinking about Sasuke. Kakashi tells them to meet for their exam tomorrow after making them not eat breakfast and wait towards the afternoon until he announced what the test is. Take 2 bells from him, and that the only 2 who are able to take the bells will progress forward. While Sasuke and Sakura are trying to hide and try and make a plan, Naruto just challenges Kakashi head on and gets it handed right back to him on a platter. This episode ends with Sasuke throwing several knives at the mentor while Kakashi is chewing out Naruto about how he is stupid with his plan. Okay, episode 5. You failed, Kakashi's final decision. Sasuke's attempt did not work at all, and Sasuke also gets owned and buried in the sand by Kakashi. Although we did get to see Sasuke pull out some moves before he was immediately outclassed by Kakashi. Kakashi then just decides to show Sakura a vision of Sasuke dying for some reason. I think there was a reason. And finally, the time limit is up for the test. The students are announced to have failed, and Kakashi gives them a lunch and tells them that they have a chance to make up for the exam later on the condition they don't free or feed Naruto, who is tied up onto a column. Sasuke and Sakura decide to feed him anyway so that he can have enough strength for the next trial, despite Kakashi telling them not to. So when Kakashi confronts them about this, they defend their decision since Naruto is their teammate. This satisfies Kakashi, and they decide that they have passed the test, and it's his first set of students that he has finally passed. Kakashi then says that while breaking the rules makes someone scum, those who abandon their friends are worse than scum, and that is where the episode ends. Episode 6, A Dangerous Mission, Journey to the Land of Waves. This is where the first arc properly starts. Now that we know Team 7 and their mentor, at the beginning of this episode, it establishes that Team 7 has gotten to work to complete a line of some low-level missions together with their mentor. Naruto is disappointed that they aren't getting higher-level missions and complains to the Hokage about this. We as the audience learn about how ninja are basically funded by running small errands all the way up to government important missions with important documents or even assassinations. This badgering from Naruto lands Team 7 a slightly harder mission of being escorts for a bridge builder named Tenzuna from the Land of Waves. During the trip there are several signs of weird circumstances surrounding the bridge builder, but it comes to a head when Team 7 is attacked by a pair of Chunin named the Demon Brothers, and even though they were defeated almost as swiftly as they appeared, they're still scary to have around, and in the process Naruto is poisoned by one of the demons, and both of his teammates on the other hand were able to fill some sort of role during this conflict. Once the battle is over, Naruto makes a vow to himself that he will never back down again and seals this deal by stabbing himself with a kunai. Kakashi goes to treat the wound but then notices that the healing is fast and alludes to the Nine-Tails beast inside of him. So then there is a shift back to the Demon Brothers, who are being chewed out for not killing Tenzuna and having some shadowy figure tell them that he'll take care of the man. Episode 7, Assassin of the Mist. Kakashi asks Tenzuna why there are people after him even though he was simply a bridge builder, and since he knew people were after him, why didn't he label this as a higher level mission? Tenzuna then explains that he was too poor to afford a higher mission but needed to build this bridge because it would help him and his people escape under the rule of Gato. Gato was in control of all the exports and imports of the Land of Waves and would lose control if this bridge was built. After some convincing, Team 7 agrees to help Tenzuna out of more of a loyalty to help with their mission, and would continue to help him because they kind of felt bad for his situation. And later on their journey to this Land of Waves, they are ambushed by a shadowy figure from the last episode, Zabuza Muchimi, and his big cool sword. Zabuza and Kakashi engage in battle while the rest of Team 7 protects Tenzuna. Kakashi then reveals why his eye is covered, which is that there is a Sharingan under it, and they begin to have a fight of clones basically. That's kind of where the episode ends. Episode 8, The Oath of Pain. Kakashi and Zabuza continue their fight, but Kakashi becomes captured in a water prison. Since Zabuza is unable to move himself while he traps Kakashi, he creates water clones to attack Team 7 and the bridge builder. Kakashi begs with Team 7 to run since the clone will only be able to follow them for a certain distance and the bridge builder will still be alive. Naruto considers this, but then remembers his pain oath and decides to fight anyway. Naruto transforms himself into a Fuma Shuriken, and Sasuke realizes this with him, and they throw real Naruto and the Fuma Sharingan at Zabuza. Together, this plan is able to cause Zabuza to release Kakashi, and the episode ends. Episode 9, Kakashi, Sharingan Warrior. Kakashi, now freed, uses his Sharingan to replicate many of Zabuza's attacks. This angers Zabuza, who is then promptly defeated by Kakashi. At the last moment, a hunter ninja seems to kill Zabuza with a single attack. Even though the fight is now over, Naruto is jealous that such a young ninja was able to defeat Zabuza so easily, but Kakashi dismisses this and reminds Naruto that there are younger ninja who are stronger than himself and that it will be okay, essentially. The episode ends with Kakashi collapsing from fatigue, from his injuries, I guess. Episode 10, Forest of Chakra. Tenzuna is able to finally return to the Land of Waves with the rest of Team 7. They are able to meet the family that Tenzuna mentioned earlier, including his grandson named Inari, who is like no older than 7. Kakashi wakes up and begins to recover, and despite this being less than a few days to heal, Kakashi takes some crushes and takes Team 7 out to train in the Chakra Woods, or more or less to train their chakra in the woods. I like calling it the Chakra Woods. Kakashi is determined because he realized that there were some inconsistencies between the hunter ninja's handling of Zabuza's corpse and what was supposed to happen, and then through this assumes that Zabuza is probably still alive and expecting to see him again for a rematch. This training scene is Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura attempting to channel chakra into their feet and being able to walk up a tree. Despite competition between both Naruto and Sasuke competing to be the first up the tree, Sakura is able to surprise both by being able to do that on her first try. This episode ends with a scene of the hunter ninja from before as he tends to a very alive Zabuza's moon, showing himself not only to be a devoted follower of Zabuza, but maybe a little bit crazy. This follower of Zabuza turns out to be named Haku, and Zabuza tells him that he intends to fight Kakashi again, which proves Kakashi's point from earlier in the episode. Episode 11, The Land Where a Hero Once Lived. Since the boys of Team 7 haven't mastered their tree climbing yet, it leaves just Sakura to accompany Tanzana during his day. The poverty and fear of this area is so prevalent that it moves Sakura. The competition between both Naruto and Sasuke is present even through their dinner. However, this is followed by Sakura asking about a torn family photo. Tanzana's grandson Inari runs off with his mother behind him, and Tanzana then proceeds to explain the backstory behind who the man in the photo was. The man in the photo was named Kaza, and after saving Inari from drowning, he became sort of a father figure in place of what Inari didn't have in his life. Kazuha was a respected community member and stood up against Gato upon his arrival to the Land of Waves. While Kaza was a strong man, Gato was able to get his lackeys to publicly beat him and then execute him in front of Inari, no less. So the boy was permanently changed from that day onward, obviously. Naruto was so moved by this that he now had a new resolve for his training, and the episode ends. Episode 12, Battle on the Bridge. Zabuza returns. While training in the woods, Naruto falls asleep and is found by Haku. While Naruto at first thought he was a girl, the two are able to have a brief conversation about their ideals. Haku leaves Naruto and is found by Sasuke, and the two continue their tree climbing training. By the evening, two have completed their training and return back to the bridge builder's home. Inari and Naruto get into a short spat, which causes Naruto to call the boy a coward. Kakashi later talks to Inari and explains that Naruto understands his pain due to having his own hardships of the no parents swing empty situation. By the morning, Kakashi decided to let Naruto sleep in while the rest of Team 7 escorts Tanzana to work on the bridge. They arrive to the bridge to only find Zabuza and Haku on the bridge, Haku wearing his mask, of course. Episode 13, Haku's Secret Jutsu, Demonic Mirroring Ice Crystals. Instead of starting on the bridge where we left off, the episode starts off in Tanzana's home. Inari's mother, Tsunami, is attempting to essentially be kidnapped by two of Gato's thugs. Inari, in a moment of courage, attempts to stop the two, but Naruto jumps in just in time and actually stops the kidnapping. Naruto apologizes to Inari about the night before, then heads off. Bridge. Back to the bridge, Zabuza engages Kakashi by having a little battle between Haku and Sasuke, I believe. Sasuke uses this new chakra control to increase his speed, but gets trapped in Haku's ice crystal mirror technique. There's a lot of words with this technique, and I do not understand why. Okay, the episode ends. Episode 14, Number 1 Hyperactive Knucklehead Ninja joins the fight. These titles are getting longer, I swear. Naruto arrives on the scene where Sasuke is being trapped by the ice mirror, and Kakashi and Zabuza are basically having an intense staring contest. Kakashi realizes the advantage that Sasuke and Naruto have over Haku by having one outside and inside of the mirror crystal thing. And Naruto ends up in the trap and is forced to walk with Sasuke to get out, much to Kakashi's dismay, losing their one advantage they had in the fight. Episode 15, Zero Visibility, Sharingan Shatters. The boys are in the ice trap and are attempting to use shadow clones and fireball jutsus to help combat Haku's mirrors with no results, and the two becoming more and more injured each attempt that they make. Kakashi, who has been watching the pair, realizes how outclassed the two are because this is a Keki Genkai made by Haku. When Kakashi attempts to end this fight with Zabuza to help them with using his Sharingan, but knowing his tricks, Zabuza is then able to counter, and Kakashi must try and protect from Zabuza's move as he is using the mist to kind of hide himself from him. Kakashi realizes that, and there was a miscalculation, and he runs over to Sakura and Tanzana, who are separate but together, and just has a feeling that the bridge builder will be attacked. Instead, the episode ends with Kakashi being struck by the assassin's sword on his way over to the pair. Episode 16, The Broken Seal. Haku has thoroughly wrecked both Sasuke and Naruto through his attacks along with the speed granted through his mirror. In a moment of desperation, Sasuke is able to unlock his own birthright, the Sharingan. Haku senses this change in danger that now that Sasuke is able to use his Sharingan and is able to track his movements. So Haku elects for a quicker solution to just end this by throwing a bunch of needles called Saibons at Naruto, and the pair won't be able to continue the fight once those Saibons land on Naruto, probably killing him. Instead, Sasuke sacrifices himself so that Naruto won't get hit, and it seems like Sasuke has just died while Naruto is holding him. Sasuke mutters what Naruto thinks is Sasuke's final words and then falls unresponsive. Enraged and upset, Naruto is able to tap into the Nine Tails Chakra to heal his wounds and start attacking Haku. Episode 17, White Ambition Hidden Past. Naruto was able to destroy the mirrors and the mask comes off of Haku, and Naruto sees that this was the dude he was talking to in the forest. Since Haku's mission went unfulfilled, he asked Naruto to kill him. There's a sudden flashback to reveal why Haku is so dedicated to Zabuza and why he is so powerful despite his youth. As stated before, Haku was an inheritor of a Keki Genkai, and those people who inherit these are demonized. Him and his mother were able to hide this until Haku unknowingly showed his powers and got his mother killed by his father. Haku was going to be next on the murdered list, but this Keki Genkai killed his father and the other people who were after him, and he was able to run away. Zabuza found Haku and trained him as a ninja that would work under him with no strings attached relationship, essentially. This flashback ends when we see Kakashi realizing Naruto's seal was not completely broken and was able to restrain Zabuza and ready a lightning blade to kill him. I know that was a lot. Episode 18, The Weapons Known as Shinobi. Instead of going back to the moment that the cliffhanger ended, we are watching Inari attempting to rally people from his village to help his grandfather for a hot minute. Anyway, back to the actual action on the bridge. Kakashi's lightning blade was supposed to kill Zabuza, but Haku was struck fatally instead. Zabuza used Haku's sacrifice to break free and attack Kakashi without a beat since his apprentice just died for him. Meanwhile, Sakura finds Sasuke's body with Tanzana and cries that he is dead and that she shouldn't really be showing emotion, but she is, even though she studied that she shouldn't be feeling emotion. But it doesn't matter because we're back to Kakashi turning Zabuza's arms into used car salesman things. Those arms are so broken. However, this fight is interrupted by Gato, who just wants to kill everyone on the bridge with his army of goons. I know, a lot. Anyway, it then shifts back to Inari, who was able to get support with the help of his people to go against Gato and help the people on the bridge. I know, it's a lot. Episode 19, The Demon in the Snow. Since Zabuza has no reason to fight anymore because his boss is about to kill him, Zabuza and his no working arms heaven self has a kunai put in his mouth and straight up just kills Gato while receiving several injuries on his way to get to Gato, but he still kills the guy. So now all the goons being leaderless, outnumbered by villagers, and with some ninja who are ready to fight, these goons make a decision to run away, which was probably the smartest one, back to Zabuza dying. It shows that he did care about Haku in some sort of twisted way and requests to lie next to him while dying. In respect, the two are then buried next to each other, and the giant sword is also like kind of angled into the grave of the two. Anyway, back to more of the present. Sasuke is alive, so Team 7 was able to call this mission a success with no permanent injuries, probably some trauma. And in honor of the bridge being built, Tanzana names it the Great Naruto Bridge. Okay, recap is over, and I'd like to phrase the next few points into what I will kind of say my thoughts on the characters, the plot, and more or less my final thoughts about this first arc of Naruto. So, first character up, Naruto. Honestly, I didn't mind him too much during this arc. If anything, I think Naruto's behavior is pretty normal for a 12-year-old boy. I'm sure the following question has been asked elsewhere and probably answered elsewhere, but if everyone hates him and he has no parents, how does he have a home? I don't know. Otherwise, Naruto's actions during this arc that made me facepalm were kind of justified, because I'd imagine if you put 12-year-olds with knives and ninja magic, they'd probably do something similar. However, on the positive side, I really liked Naruto's work ethic and how he works with his teammates in and out of battle. And I really like how it showed him just attempting again and again to become a ninja, because that was a goal that he always had in his life. And I really like that it showed him like trying to put in the work and not getting there exactly, because I feel like a lot of shows now have a hero just kind of bam, they have powers and they're cool and nothing ever goes wrong for them. But I like how it showed Naruto failing at first. Maybe I'm watching too many shows with similar plots, but I really liked Naruto's kind of like work ethic throughout this arc. I'm not speaking on the other ones, but just this one so far. I really liked how he was able to ask his teammates for help and how he was really determined in everything that he did. His dynamic with Sasuke is interesting because I think their friendship is fun to watch, and in the final moments where Naruto thought he died, it was really heartbreaking to see. His other teammate Sakura, they don't really have that many memorable interactions, but I really liked how he asked her for help with how she did the chakra thing, because I think it just really shows the teammate side that Kakashi was pushing for, and him just watching them being like, oh wow, they're actually listening to me, was really nice. From the perspective of an art person, I think his design is interesting. While I am sure he can't help his hair color, the orange suit is his choice. Since orange is not the most secretive color for a ninja, I found that very interesting. Since orange is not the most secretive color, I think this represents his choice not to conform to other ninja in being much more confrontational than them. Also, the strong yellow and orange, when you kind of squint and look at him, kind of reminds me of a sunrise. And since sunrises represent renewed life and warmth and hope, I think this really shows a lot of Naruto's personality, that he's just kind of like a bright light for many people in his life. Oh, Sasuke, 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 Sasuke. Even from when I first watched the show, I could not stand this kid. I am all for calculated and calm team member that is a little cocky, but I mean, he's just rude most of the time when he isn't straight up quiet. There are times when I think this kind of attitude is deserved, like when he was having that conversation with Sakura and she called him annoying. I felt that part was pretty justified, especially knowing his backstory. Anyway, I liked how he was able to use Sharingan in a moment of desperation, like the other example of a Keki Genkai that we saw, and the foreshadowing of this ability made me really happy, like when it showed his shock when he saw Kakashi using a Sharingan, and he's like, what? I thought that was a really good idea for the writer to include so that this thing just didn't come out of nowhere. Personality-wise, if Sasuke didn't have the tragic backstory he has, I would say he acts unrealistically for a 12-year-old boy. But this boy has so much trauma that I grant him a pass for this, I guess, since I think it would be hard to live with what he's gone through, especially the way he talks about it in the series. You can see that he gets a little prickly, even though he's always prickly. Anyway, design-wise, I guess, I think young Sasuke's design looks pretty solid. It's not mature, yet it still functions during battle. It simply looks simple, but it has modifications, like a collar that kind of looks like Naruto's, and the short sleeves, which I couldn't see any useful thing for in battle, even though he had the cuffs on his arm, which I think also look kind of nice in my opinion. His design kind of fits what you would imagine a younger kid would wear if he was in a universe of ninja. Like, this would be something that would be mass produced and you could buy at the equivalent of a ninja Walmart. Did I just say that? Oh my god. Anyway, on to the next character. Okay, this one has a lot of personal feelings attached, and I am not ashamed of that at all. For context, during my first watch of Naruto, I remember feeling neutral about Sakura Haruno. That was until I found people talking online about her. Even though she was canonically 12 during this arc, I remember seeing so much hate for her online. This made me hate her too. Like, yeah, look at her being so useless and standing in the background and relying on her teammates. However, now that I'm older and wiser and rewatch this series, I can see that she is more of a victim of poor writing rather than just being a bad character. I think because people are so primed to like certain parts of Naruto, I think some people forget that this world is imaginary and that every character's actions are the result of a writer and not the character itself, if that makes sense. The writer never gave Sakura a chance to show her skill in this arc or in any other scene than the Chakra training scene, but even then it is undermined by not having her use this later in battle. I'm going to try and keep this brief because honestly I could make an entire video on Sakura, so I would like to just say that I hate how she was written, but the character itself is whatever. Her hidden anger was interesting, but that never shows up during battle or outside of anything that doesn't revolve around Sasuke. Her crush on Sasuke isn't compelling, and it kind of feels like a tad incel-y at times, but this is not a Sakura video, and I'm going to probably expand on this later because as I am talking my script, I am feeling my blood boil. Anyway, onto her design. Her looks are interesting because despite her being the only one out of the team 7 to have not inherited some sort of power, she has the most unnatural hair of her team. I don't even think there's a reason in this series why her hair is pink. I'm pretty sure they show her parents and they both look like normal people, and they didn't have a weird reason like they do in Demon Slayer for the love Hashira. Anyway, her outfit is pretty standard, and I like that she wears a more traditional outfit that seems to be based on a kipao. It has shorts under it for functionality, and I kind of liked it. I liked how the red in her hair kind of made a nice color combination without it standing out too much, and that it had the white accents on it. And while probably at the time this was made, Boruto wasn't even in mind. It kind of reminded me of the Uchiha symbol, but I also said major spoilers, so don't get mad at me for spoiling this. I'ma be honest here, there are no complaints I have about this man. He's an interesting mentor for Team 7 and cares about each of his students deeply and about their progression as becoming stronger people. Visually, Kakashi looks like a ninja, and him covering most of his face creates a sense of mystery for the audience, which I think was really interesting when they showed him revealing his eye, because not only was there the cool red eye, there was also the scar, so it kind of makes it seem like he has a reason for hiding the other parts of his face, even though that has been stated a reason for that, and it is not super cool, but I still think it's really cool and it's kind of funny to me. Anyway, in short, it just made his scene of him revealing the Sharingan much more unforgettable. Out of all of Team 7, Kakashi holds up the most to how I remember him being when I first watched through it. I remember drawing pictures of Kakashi that are probably not being shown because, oh my god, that was embarrassing, but I love this dude. I still do. I still think he's a great character, and I really can't say much more about him. This arc holds up pretty well. All the story related characters were pretty solid, and I remember Haku's dead body every time I close my eyes. Tanzina's character felt so accurate for an older man with a passion despite his surroundings being in deep despair. I really liked Inari and their little family that they had, and most of the not villain characters, but the villain characters of this arc were also heartbreaking. I believe Haku should have interacted with Sasuke more because they have more in common than I think more people realize. I think that it would have been cool to see his reaction to Haku's backstory and how he was able to unlock his Keki Genkai the first time he was able to use it against people to defend himself, even though I understand why they probably didn't do this since it would spoil later events in the series and whatever. On a tiny note, I feel like Tanzina should have named the bridge the Great Kakashi Bridge because Naruto's contributions are kind of overshadowed by Kakashi's. Like, sure, Naruto inspired Inari, but Inari was only going to listen to Naruto after he called him a coward because Kakashi explained why Naruto kind of reacted the way he did to Inari screaming at him. And the really calm conversation between Kakashi and Inari were very sweet to me. Kakashi was the person who created an intimidating amount of shadow clones to scare away Gato's goons on the bridge. Kakashi was the one responsible for taking most of the hits Zabuza was going to land on Tanzina. And Kakashi was the one to decide to keep on the mission despite Tanzina lying to them. And Kakashi was the one who trained his students under the impression and deduction he made that Zabuza would come back, and that he did come back and try to kill Tanzina. Anyway, that's all about it that I have to say about the first arc of Naruto. I hope you enjoyed this video because it took too long to write and record and edit. This is for sure my longest video by far because it took so long to write and edit. I am still recording and it's been over an hour and this video is probably going to be around 20 minutes, which is twice as long as my previous longest video. But I am kind of hopeful that this goes well so I can have a small Naruto series on my channel. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a positive day, week, or month, even year. Follow me on Instagram because I drop pic crews for free. If you have any thoughts about any of the things I talked about in this video, please let me know in the comments down below. I think we could probably have a really interesting conversation about this series, and maybe it'll be a new video topic idea. Anyway, again, thank you for watching. I love you all, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye!
Come on.